In an unexpected encounter that captivated all who witnessed it, the unshakable force of scientific reasoning collided with the immovable pillar of faith. Elon Musk, the architect of our technological future, faced off against an elderly religious leader, a guardian of centuries-old beliefs. The room crackled with tension as these two minds, polar opposites in their philosophies, engaged in a fiery debate over the existence of heaven, the soul, and the mysteries of life and death. Musk, armed with his signature brand of cool, calculated skepticism, wasted no time dismissing the concept of heaven. "It's a fairy tale," he declared with steely certainty, "a comforting myth for those too afraid to face the reality of death. The soul? Another fabrication. Everything we are is a product of neural activity reducible to chemical reactions." His tone was resolute, almost daring anyone to challenge his authority. The room seemed to tense at his words, the weight of his intellect casting a long shadow over the gathering. He leaned back in his chair, his expression unflinching, as if the debate were already over. For Musk, this wasn't just a discussion. It was a battle of logic against what he viewed as the last vestiges of human superstition. "We create narratives to comfort ourselves," he continued, his voice cutting through the silence like a blade. "Heaven and hell? Convenient constructs, a soul? Just the mind's desperate attempt to cling to permanence." The elderly man opposite him, though dwarfed by Musk's towering presence and reputation, remained calm, his demeanour unshaken. He sat quietly, folding his hands, letting Musk's words echo and settle before speaking. The contrast between them was stark, Musk's sharp, analytical tone versus the old man's quiet, almost meditative energy. When he finally responded, his voice was gentle but carried a strength that made the room feel as if it had shifted. "And yet, Mr. Musk," he said, his words deliberate, "you yourself speak of myths and narratives. Isn't it true that even science itself thrives on stories? Stories of discovery, of exploration, of a future where humanity triumphs over the unknown. Are these not also comforting myths that guide our actions?" Musk blinked, caught off guard by the simplicity of the question. "Science is grounded in evidence," he shot back quickly, regaining his footing. "It's not a myth. It's a process, a method to uncover truth. It's not built on belief. It's built on proof." The old man nodded, acknowledging the point but refusing to yield. "Yes, but even the process of science begins with faith. Faith that the universe is orderly, that its laws are consistent, and that our minds are capable of understanding them. None of that can be proven before the work begins. It is merely assumed. Isn't that in some way a kind of belief?" The tension in the room thickened as Musk's confident facade began to show faint cracks. He leaned forward, his voice rising in defense. "It's not the same. Faith asks us to accept without questioning, without evidence. Science demands rigor, proof, repeatability. They are opposites." The old man's eyes glimmered with a quiet intensity. "And yet not everything that matters can be proven. Love, purpose, meaning. Are these less real because they cannot be quantified? You chase the stars, Mr. Musk, driven by a vision of a better future. What proof do you have that such a future will come to pass? Isn't that too an act of faith?" The words lingered in the air, their weight undeniable. Musk hesitated, the certainty in his gaze flickering for just a moment. The old man had done something few could. He had unsettled the unshakable. The old man, frail in stature but towering in conviction, met Musk's words with a calm smile that belied the storm brewing beneath. "Perhaps," he began, his voice steady yet firm, "but not everything of value can be measured or reduced to data points. Can you quantify love? Can you calculate the awe you feel when gazing at the stars you dream of exploring?" This question, deceptively simple, struck a nerve. Musk dismissed it as emotional rhetoric. "Feelings are byproducts of evolution," he retorted. "They serve a purpose, but they don't prove anything about the existence of a soul or an afterlife." The room seemed to hold its breath, the audience waiting for the old man's reply. Unshaken, the elderly leader pressed on, his tone sharpening. "Science, Mr. Musk, is a marvellous tool. It answers the how of existence, the mechanisms that make the universe function. But it falters when faced with the why. Why do we exist? Why does life matter? What gives it meaning? These are questions science cannot answer. His words hung in the air like a gauntlet thrown at Musk's feet. Musk, unaccustomed to being challenged on such fundamental levels, leaned forward, his voice rising. Why should I entertain ideas that have no evidence? Faith is just a placeholder for ignorance, a way to stop asking questions. Everything has an answer, we just haven't discovered them all yet. The old man's eyes narrowed, his composure finally showing a crack of fire. And yet your belief in the ultimate power of science is, in itself, a kind of faith, he countered, his voice cutting through Musk's logic like a blade. You believe that every question has an answer, even though you can't prove it. You trust in the process of discovery, though you'll never live to see its completion. Isn't that faith, Mr. Musk? This jab landed hard. Musk faltered, his usual confidence shaken. That's not faith, he argued, though his voice lacked the force it had moments ago. It's logic. It's reason. Faith requires belief without evidence. The old man didn't relent. Not all truths require evidence to be meaningful. Some truths live in the heart, not in the laboratory. You trust your rockets to reach the stars. But do you trust yourself to find meaning in this life? Or are you afraid of what you'll find when you stop running from the unknown? The debate had shifted. What began as a clash of ideologies now burned with personal stakes. Musk, the man who had built his empire on the certainty of science, found himself grappling with questions he'd spent a lifetime avoiding. He grew quiet, his sharp retorts replaced with moments of uneasy reflection. Maybe, he admitted, his voice softer now, there are questions that logic can't answer, but that doesn't mean I have to accept stories that make no sense. The old man's gaze softened, the heat of confrontation giving way to something gentler. I'm not asking you to accept anything blindly. I'm asking you to consider that life's mysteries aren't obstacles to overcome, but paths to deeper understanding. Perhaps the greatest journey isn't to the stars, Mr. Musk, but into yourself. By the end of their fiery exchange, neither man had completely swayed the other. Musk didn't leave as a man of faith, and the old man didn't abandon his beliefs for science. Yet something had shifted in both. Musk, for the first time, acknowledged the limits of his logic and admitted an unfamiliar vulnerability. He didn't confirm belief in heaven or the soul, but he began to question whether the mysteries of existence held truths beyond what could be measured or seen. The debate left the audience in awe, not because one side had won, but because both men had revealed the depth of their humanity. Musk, the unyielding man of science, and the old man, the steadfast guardian of faith, had found common ground in their willingness to confront the unknown. This fiery encounter reminded everyone that the most profound journeys may not lie in the realm of technology or theology, but within ourselves. As Musk walked away lost in thought, the old man's final words lingered. Perhaps the answers we seek are not out there in the cosmos, but here, where faith and science intertwine. In the end, the debate left us with a powerful truth, that some questions may remain unanswered, but they still have the power to guide us toward deeper understanding, and maybe even peace.